Well, after Georgia took care of business against Texas, as a Georgia fan, you pretty much can go back to same mindset you had after 21, 22. You know you're in the playoffs unless you find a way to not beat Georgia Tech. Even then, you're probably in. So Georgia, back to not only expecting to be in, but looking at seeding and trying to figure out how to win that. And looks like their path might actually work out where they could go all the way. They become the favorite. It's not quite the case, but it could be. We won't find out much against Charlotte, and Georgia Tech is a game that I said all year could be trouble. It could. I think we'll take care of it. So that's good that Georgia's back in that position of being the team to beat, because Ohio State has been that team since they won the title, since Georgia dropped out early last year. So we won't get into that, but Georgia seems to have somehow put themselves in the state of mind that they could win a title. They're playing a little better. They played erratic for way too long and played with their food for way too long, and the game changed way too much, all while that was happening. And suddenly it's easy to forget what it was like in 21 and 22 for Georgia fans. But we may be able to experience it again, hopefully. Take care of business, and Georgia looks like they're back as a serious playoff team. The way we looked at it in 22, we didn't even look at the other guys. We knew we could beat them, and we did. We're not quite back to that standpoint, but we do feel like we could. You could kind of see a window of opportunity for Georgia to become a little more reliable. Then I wanted to talk about Lane Kiffin. I know you're tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm amazed that it's still a story. And those coaching positions at Florida and LSU, that could change the power dynamics of the SEC. If Lane Kiffin jumps to Florida, all of a sudden, are they really, really like they were with Urban Meyer? Well, that changes the SEC. Is LSU like they were in 2019? Could Lane Kiffin get them back there? Well, to be honest, maybe he could. Their defense is good on both teams. And certainly he could probably cobble together an offense, and things could happen. But those schools are, Florida in particular, a long way, in my opinion, from being stable enough to think they're going to just make a magic jump. But who knows? I mean, all they needed was offense this year. So all LSU needed was offense. And Lane Kiffin supposedly will bring it. And he probably will. So what makes Lane Kiffin the superstar? He hasn't won anything. He's never won a title, never won a conference. But he's won a lot of games. It's not just football, I believe. I think Lane Kiffin, he has what they call the it factor. He has the it factor. And that can make something happen. And he could have a really good recruiting class and a really good transfer class, and he could stockpile talent very quickly. He could, probably will. But at Ole Miss, he may not get what he wants, but he gets what he needs to win a title. And that's enough. And the expectations are so much less. But what drives Lane Kiffin? I mean, if you're listening out there, you take a look at him. He looks to be a young man, a youthful nature. He'll be appearing young when he's 70. But he's a little more mature, and he has an it factor. And that's something that's really all he's ever sold. And that's what Ole Miss desperately needed. But if he can get a title, Ole Miss could probably get any coach once they get a title, because he's built the team up. I mean, last 4 years, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss have won more SEC games than anybody else. So we don't know what's going to happen there. I think everybody's watching, and, LSU and Florida are going to get a new coach, and maybe the SEC will change. LSU was top of the world in 2019, and compare Georgia, they've had 3 years since their peak. Is Georgia going to actually get back into the winning groove, or are they going to keep sliding like LSU has? Sliding to what you could call mediocre. What has LSU done since 2019? Well, they made the SEC championship game once. That's about it. And they weren't the favorite, and they lost. The SEC has belonged to Georgia. Even though they didn't win titles, they still were the best team, and many people felt that way. Alabama fans don't count. There's no point trying to make any reasoning with an Alabama fan. They're complaining because they're ranked below Notre Dame in the playoff poll, when they should be worried about, can they beat Auburn and actually make the playoffs? Or can they get 30 points on the board in a game? Because it might take that to win a playoff game. That's what Alabama fans are doing. Georgia fans are trying to grasp maybe just where we are. And maybe we're back. And a lot of you didn't know we went away, but we did. But if we did go away, I think we are getting back. Hopefully we'll stay that way. And I am actually quite pleased that we finished 7-1 in the SEC. I feel like that was pretty good, especially considering that you probably should have won them all. As we talk about the playoffs, we can, at least as Georgia fans, feel like we're in. Lane Kiffin could lose to the Egg Bowl. All the distractions could derail them. I'm not really sure they're a lock, but they seem to be. So the playoffs have a storyline forming. We can already see it happening. Notre Dame is going to be part of the storyline because they seem to be put in and they don't quite actually look like they should be. And what's going to happen there is they're going to get exposed and they'll lose a game. And then eventually Notre Dame will have to earn their way in, because last year they went further than they should, because we should have knocked them out. And I stand by that. That changed all the dynamics. Had Georgia awakened last year like they're doing now, it would have been a completely different playoff. And I think the national media is starting to see that the sleeping giant may have woke up. Sleeping giant may have at least raised one eye.